Hello everyone and welcome to another FaceTracker for Blender tutorial. In our previous videos we used it for adding VFX, face reshaping and driving 3D characters' facial animation. Today we're going to talk about quick relighting in Blender with this facial mocap and 3D animation add-on. If you don't have it in Blender yet, you can go to KeenTools.io, download Blender Pack and subscribe to our newsletter, by the way, to receive all important updates and news from KeenTools. Then open Blender, Preferences, and install it from here. There's a couple of installation guides on our YouTube channel depending on your Blender version, so check them out if you need help. Press N to see the sidebar, click on the FaceTracker tab, and then create new FaceTracker. Now the first thing we'll do is facial mocap. Let's load our footage in here and analyze it. Then press New to generate a custom face mesh. Scroll to a frame where the face looks most three-dimensional and hit Take Snapshot. In this part of the pipeline, we customize the auto-generated face geometry by matching it with the face in the video with the help of these pinpoints. You can drag the existing points to line up the facial features, right-click to delete irrelevant pins, and left-click to create new ones. We don't need the neck, so we can disable it in the Model tab. You can also take more snapshots if you have different angles in the video. You can watch our tutorial on the basics of face tracking to learn more about that. You can check out the resulting 3D model by pressing back to 3D. Once you're happy with it, click on Start Pin Mode. This is where we do facial mocap. We'll need to choose the initial frame we'll start tracking from and match our 3D model to face in that frame. Let's set the focal length here in the Camera tab. If you don't know it, use the automatic focal length estimation. Click on Auto Align first and then adjust the mesh position by dragging the pins. Once again, you can delete them, add new ones. This time that doesn't change the shape of the mesh, only its position in 3D space relevant to the camera. When the mesh is lined up, press Track forward or backwards. Pause whenever you see it's off, adjust the mesh position, press Refine to update the data in between. Repeat these steps until you are satisfied with the results. Again, you can learn more about tracking in our detailed tutorial on the basics of face tracking. In this particular case, we also used the lock neck option, which helped us get a more stable track of the jawline, though it's not mandatory. So here's our tracking results. As you see, the head is going up and down, and there's also motion blur, but our track is pretty stable. Okay, let's go back to 3D and add a couple of light sources. Shift-A, Light, Add Point Light. Switch to Material Preview, make sure you have both Scene Lights and Scene World enabled here in Viewport Shading. Let's place our first light source somewhere here in the background and to the left. Go to Object Data Properties, increase the power a bit, select the color, let's pick some cold bluish tone. Then Shift-D to duplicate the light and move it somewhere here in the foreground and to the right. Make it less bright and choose some warm tone. You can also adjust the radius to get smoother shades, for example. Let's go over here and rename them as Cold and Warm. Now let's go to Compositing, activate Use Nodes. If we send this to render now, we're gonna get only the 3D head lit by our light sources. But we want to have here our background and the light bouncing off the surface of the 3D head, but not the 3D head itself. So we need to sort of separate the light and the 3D model. Let's see how we can do this. We're gonna go to View Layer, Light Groups, and add a new group here. As you see, this adds a new output to the Render Layers node, so let's rename it to Cold and then create another one for Warm. And now we need to assign our point lights to these light groups. So let's go to Object Properties, select our point light and assign it to the corresponding light group. And then do the same for the other one. Now we can do compositing. Let's add a movie clip node, select our footage in here, add a mix node, switch it to color dodge, which lets us divide the background color by the inverted foreground color. And now we're going to send our first light source to the bottom image input here and connect our movie clip to the top one. Let's connect it to the composite node and send it to render. Alright, we have a bit of a bluish tone here on the left side of the face, just as we wanted. Let's add a viewer node here to see what's going on. If we disable and enable color dodge, we can see the result with and without the added light source. That looks good. Let's bring in the warm light now. We're gonna add another mix color node, switch it also to color dodge, send our second light source to the bottom input again, and now connect this image output to the top image input here and send this one to composite and render nodes. And now we have both lights added to our footage. Again, you can do this sort of before and after by disabling and enabling these two nodes. This could be it, but if you look closer to our shot, you can notice some light artifacts here on the jawline and also a couple of other places, and that's basically where the edges of our 3D model are. What we can do here is add some blur to improve the way it looks. So let's add a blur node here in between and crank up these values. And do the same for our warm light, this time maybe with a smaller amount of blur. Let's send it to render, and I think we're done. This is it, I hope you enjoyed it. Download FaceTracker for Blender from KeenTools.io. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay informed about our new videos. Thank you for watching and bye bye.